Am I overreacting for ending my marriage? My husband and I have a reoccurring problem in our marriage. He has consistently put other women's needs before mine.
Well, then, goddamn, that's not
overreacting at all.
And not just any women, only attractive ones.
Girl.
I am totally fine with him being attracted to other women, and I get that that's normal. I'll even check out random strangers with him, not a problem. The only problem is that when we are around other pretty women, he ignores me. In the past, he's told me he didn't want to spend $60 on something to help me not have a panic attack. Then the next week, he wanted to buy a $60 birthday present for his female hairdresser.
What are you talking about?
Or refused to walk me to the car when I left a party, but walked a group of girls out later to keep them safe. Stuff like this happens all the time. We've done 5 years of therapy and he still denies it's an issue. I've worked with him. I've forgiven him each time.
Hell no.
In January, I had my friend and her boyfriend over for game night. They were there for about 4 hours. The first 90 minutes, my husband paid attention to no one but her. I didn't exist. It was like watching them two on a date in my own home. I kicked him under the table to get his attention and he didn't notice. I went to the bathroom and cried and he still didn't notice. This last weekend, we went on a trip with friends. I told him I could tell he was attracted to one girl and that I didn't like the way he acted towards her. Mainly that when we were all outside, I kept mentioning how cold it was and he did nothing, which is fine. I didn't expect him to do anything. But as soon as she said she was cold, he jumped up and turned the heater on beside her. Damn, Jackie, I can't control the weather.
I was thinking the same thing. Damn, Jackie, I'm gonna be cold too.
He said he'd fix his behavior towards her. A few hours later, it's just the three of us on the porch. I was obviously uncomfortable and said we should go inside. At first, he said he was fine to stay. Then he saw my face and said he'd go in. The girl was going to join us and she mentioned, should we turn the heater off? I said, I'm sure that she's got it. It has one knob and turns high to low or off. It's not hard. I turn around at the door and my husband is facing away from me side by side with this chick, helping her turn it off. Later on, by the fire, she made a comment that it needs more wood and he immediately hopped up to get it. I think he's simping for these pretty women and in turn, often ignoring my own needs. He thinks he's just being a nice guy and only helped her with the heater because she's, quote, useless. He doesn't take responsibility for his actions. There's always an excuse. He seems to think I'm overreacting because I want to leave him. After 5 years of this and trying to work on it, it's clear he'll never admit his actions are a problem. I'm hoping the Reddit community can set one or both of us straight. So am I overreacting?
Hell no.
Apparently, chivalry isn't dead for this guy unless it's for his wife.
Yeah.
The guy that I, 31 female, am sleeping with is feeling guilty and now wants to tell our spouses. How do I let him know it does more harm than good?
Our spouse, bro.
I know this looks bad.
It is.
But I just want people to know that this is very out of character for me. I don't cheat, and I used to despise cheaters, but now I see it as a little more complicated than I gave it credit for.
It's complicated because now I've done it. So I have to bend my worldview so I'm the good guy.
My husband, Chris, is the world's #1 husband. I don't care what anybody says.
Then what are you doing?
We've been together since we were both sophomores in college, and now we are both 31. We got married when we were 25, and we have a 4-year-old together. We had a great marriage where he gave me attention, great sex, he was responsible, and we had companionship. But a couple of years ago, things started getting rocky. My husband's dad was diagnosed with cancer.
What are we doing?
Thank God he's in remission now, though. But that being said, throughout that time that my father-in-law was getting treatment, it stressed Chris out so much. He became less interested in sex and was understandably down because of it. This led me to feeling neglected, just not with sex, but also the companionship too, which led me to my old coworker, Evan. Evan and I bonded because he was also, check this out, neglected by his wife because they had triplets.
Hey, we got the two worst people in the fucking world together.
Honestly.
Maybe
bro.
they
They had triplets, and it's understandable that it can be busy and stressful. Hell, when I had just one baby, that was a lot. But still, that's no excuse to neglect your partner.
He's neglecting her.
We were in an unimaginable situation. We both love our spouses, but we both needed some affection and found it with each other. We don't want to risk losing the love of our lives, though. But recently, he decided to consider violating my privacy and telling my husband husband. The reason is because he feels guilty and he wants to tell his wife. Well, I feel guilty too, but that would cause more pain, and he has no right to decide if that's what's best between my husband and I. He's feeling down because his wife gave him a very thoughtful gift, I think a rare card or something. He said that he's been very neglectful to his family and that we owe it to our partners to tell them the truth. And I just don't agree at all.
This person.
I do think the affair should end. That being said, telling my husband, that's horrible. He's just now starting to get back to normal. It would cause even more pain to expose him to my selfishness.
I love how she's like, this will upset my husband and make him feel worse. Like, yeah, that's why you shouldn't have cheated. Like, telling the person is not the issue. It's the act that you'd committed is the issue. Some people, it just feels like we're banging our head against the wall.
Am I the asshole for flipping out on my mother-in-law and husband for eating all of the food before I got to eat any of it? Ever since I gave birth 4 months ago.
Oh, Jesus.
I have 4 kids in total, by the way. My mother-in-law has been showing up whenever she wants, and when she's here, she always helps herself to whatever she wants. She has never once offered to help me or the baby in any way, shape, or form.
Why is she there then?
She's basically here to hang out with her son, and that's it. 3 weeks ago, I made a small pot of coffee, enough for 2 cups. I went to go nurse the baby while waiting, and at some point during that time, my mother-in-law shows up, lets herself inside, and by the time I came out, she had drank the entire pot of coffee. Icing on the cake, I had no coffee grounds left. Another example, she's eaten my leftovers straight out of the fridge multiple times. And she's always like, thanks for the food, thanks for the coffee, as if I offered it to her when I absolutely did not, because all she's doing is making my life miserable. I told my husband to speak to her about it, and he told me he did, but I truly don't think so. I spoke up the last time she was here 3 weeks ago and told her she needed to stop helping herself because she's eating and drinking stuff that I wanted and or made for myself. She said, oh, I'm sorry, and then stopped coming over for a while.
Oh, I don't get a free meal here anymore. I'm not coming back.
Yeah.
Deuces.
Well, today I made 4 homemade pizzas. Also, what is your husband doing? You're making 4 homemade pizzas when you just gave birth 4 months ago?
God.
What's going on? I told my kids to help themselves to dinner and that I had to get the baby down for a nap real quick and I would be right back. Well, instead it took me like 45 minutes because the baby was fussy. She had just had some shots. I come out and all the pizza was gone.
God.
She showed up out of nowhere.
And all I see is my mother-in-law and husband sitting there chowing away. I just said, are you fucking kidding me right now? My husband asked what was going on. And I said, you guys couldn't have even left me a fucking slice? Sure, let's feed the fucking neighborhood before I even get to eat. That's so awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks. And then I start to walk off. My oldest son, 13 years old, comes in and he says, Mom, I left you out a plate. I put it right on the counter. And he goes to walk over and grab it. But lo and behold, that's gone too.
Bro.
Mother-in-law said, oh, I thought it was left over from dinner. So now my son's apologizing to me, even though he did nothing wrong, but my mother-in-law and husband just stand there literally saying nothing. So I looked at both of them and I said, you both need to leave. And I mean now. My husband then decides to speak finally, saying it was an honest mistake and that no one meant any harm.
She said out, you motherfucker.
And then said I was making a mound out of a molehill, which honestly just pissed me off even further. So I snapped again and said, yeah, except every time your fucking mother comes here, I end up going without eating because she eats or drinks my portion of everything. But sure, let's defend someone who's taking food out of my mouth, shall we? His mother then just stormed out of the house and my husband looked at me like I'm insane. So I then say, quick, you better chase her. And I walk away.
You damn right.
My husband thinks I'm fucking mental and that this all could have been resolved if I had acted like an adult. Now he won't come home. But at this point, I don't even want him to come home because that means his mother will stay away as well. So Reddit, am I the asshole?
No. The saddest part of that story was it never said ex-husband in there because that's what he should fucking be.
My boss fired me, so I took his master's and PhD title. I had a rich boss once that was only rich because of the wealth from his grandparents. Guy was a complete and utter moron. He made nonsensical financial decisions and burned through hundreds of thousands of dollars in completely avoidable mistakes. But because he had money from his ancestors, he just shrugged off these losses and continued. He had also only but the faintest idea about his company or how to lead or keep employees. I was basically keeping the company together. As such, I was the naysayer that blocked 90% of his stupid plans and decisions. Due to my negativity, I was fired. The guy was also arrogant as hell because he had a master's and PhD in economics. I say no way in hell can this guy have a PhD/master's. He's so damn stupid. So I searched for his master's and PhD thesis, went to the university library, and what a surprise, on the second page of his master's thesis, found a text passage without citation. After like 40 minutes, I found another 10 passages he copied without citation. I spent only some 20 minutes examining his PhD thesis and found already 2 cases. I took pictures of the text passages he copied and the books from where he took them and wrote an anonymous email to the university. A year later, he lost both his master's and PhD because of his plagiarism. I know this from people that still work with him because he exploded. The university just thanked me but told me they cannot provide further info due to data protection. So either he had a ghostwriter write it for him who didn't care, or he just copied it and thought he would never be caught. He wrote both in the 80s. Chances are many master's and PhD theses from these times are plagiarized because there were less possibilities to get it checked. After all, imagine it's 1985 and you are at the University of Chicago, and during a trip to Miami, you visit the library and write a thesis there. If you change the title, there's almost a 0% chance that you will ever get caught. So if you have stupid bosses/people around you and with a degree that are older than you and did you wrong, it might be worth your time to check their thesis. Okay, am I the asshole for sleeping with another girl after she told me that she didn't want to become official? I've been casually seeing this girl, Amy, for a few months now. We've been sleeping together and we might occasionally go out together, but for the most part, it's just late night hookups. Even though our relationship is just mostly sex, I do enjoy her company outside of that, and she's definitely got more to offer. A few days ago, we were laying in bed, and I told her that I wanted to take things more seriously between us. She said, "I'm flattered. I really like you. The sex is great. You're a good guy. I want us to keep seeing each other, etc. But I'm not in the position to be your girlfriend or take a relationship seriously." She basically gave me the "it's not you, it's me" speech, but in many more words. It stung hearing that because I did want something more with her, but it is what it is. I'll take the L and move on. One of my boss's clients is this rich bastard who throws these big parties at his house 3 to 4 times a year. The previous 2 parties that he threw, my boss invited me and I took Amy as my +1, but I obviously didn't want to go with her this time. I hit up some people to see if anyone was interested, and this girl, Lisa, was down. Lisa and Amy turned out to be friends. Not close friends, but they are connected on social media. I don't have social media, and I had no idea they knew each other. We ended up going out together and hooked up by the end of the night. The next day, Amy starts blowing up my phone and starts going off on me for partying with another girl. At this point, I don't even know how she knew, but then she says that she saw Lisa's Insta stories or whatever it was. She was absolutely furious, but I told her that she has no right to be. She's not my girlfriend. She doesn't have any say in what I do or who I do it with. Amy asked me if I slept with Lisa, and I said that it was none of her business. She was absolutely raging, but I told her that I can do whatever I want with whoever I want because I'm single. Am I the asshole?
Am I the asshole for refusing to pay child support for a child that isn't mine?
Damn. Is this like a Maury show situation?
My soon-to-be ex-wife and I, both mid to late 30s, are in a disagreement. We are currently separated and in the process of divorcing. She's basically demanding I pay child support to her, which I have refused because the child is not my biological child. Ex keeps arguing that we chose together to adopt, and that makes us both legally responsible.
You dumb. dumb idiot.
If I had my own child, I'd be happy to pay and be involved as much as possible.
Cap, you do have your own child.
But that's not my real kid. I don't think it's fair or right. I'm expected to help pay for a child I didn't help create. Once the divorce is finalized, I plan on cutting ties with my ex and the child completely. I've been talking this issue over with family and friends, and the opinions are split.
I hope they're not split. I hope it's universal that you're a goddamn bum.
Half say I owe my ex and the kid nothing. I should move on and never look back. The other half agree with my ex and say that by us adopting, it makes us parents together, and we both owe the child the best life we can give them.
No fucking shit.
I won't have a choice to pay if I'm ordered by the courts to do so, but until then, I don't plan to, as my ex's child is not mine. I'm willing to sign away any rights I have to the child. Am I the asshole?
Yes.
Yes,
Fucking
dude.
devil.
If I'm not mistaken, adoption process could be long, possibly longer than what a pregnancy period is like. So you are been committed to getting that child in your life. And for you to walk away like that, you're a dude.
Imagine how happy he was to finally feel like he had a family, you know, only to find out the dad that adopted him is a real piece of shit. I understand why y'all are getting a divorce.